Right, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and what a week, eh? What a week. So, I'm going to go through a couple of Bitcoin things, I'm going to go through a couple of traditional finance things, and then we're largely going to spend today doing what we always do on a Saturday, which is, of course, examining the closes and getting ready for the week ahead. So, the first piece of news I wanted to just slot in here at the front is that the crypto exchange, Crypto.com, has apparently partnered or been admitted to the WEF. So, I don't know. I don't use this exchange. If I did, I certainly wouldn't be doing this anymore. Keep in mind, FTX had WEF ties as well. Okay, just keep that in mind. I don't know if it means anything. Like I said, I don't have a horse in the race because I don't use this exchange. But like I said, do with that information what you will. So, Bitcoin has now officially retraced the price action from the FTX collapse, the 3 Arrows collapse, the Luna UST collapse, meaning we have undone a significant amount of the bearishness that took us down to those 15k lows. Absolutely love to see it indeed. And in case you missed it, Bitcoin is now back to the 1 SD range in dark blue for the stocks flow model. As you can see, it's made its way back in here. So likely it's going to continue to trend up and to the right. The number of addresses holding more than $1,000 worth of Bitcoin has just hit another new all-time high at the end of this week, over 8 million now. And this liquidity signal has just fired for Bitcoin. The last 3 times it fired, okay? We did 10x over 4 months the first time, 12x over 10 months, 6x over 6 months. So what's coming next, okay? Nobody knows, but we do know for sure the last 3 times this thing triggered, what we saw was massive upside for the price of Bitcoin. This time is likely no different. And speaking of liquidity, a lot of people are very quick to say, where's the liquidity going to come from, right? But look how this thing that's supposed to be temporary, what is this thing, by the way, the Bank Term Funding Program, the QE disguised as a loan program to bail out the banks that are sat on unrealized losses from holding bonds during one of the most aggressive rate hiking cycles the world has ever seen, up and to the right. This allegedly temporary intervention just continues to go up and up and up. So where's the liquidity going to come from? The Fed's going to keep creating money and giving it away, and they're going to keep calling it not QE, okay? But make no mistake, this is QE that identifies as a loan program. Over in the asset manager's realm, okay, in traditional finance, the asset manager's exposure index saw a massive jump up over 30 points for only the 16th time in history this week. When we examine the prior times this happened, 1 month later, we were higher 14 out of 15 incidences. So pause your screen, take a good look at this. Tells us to keep an open mind about seeing higher prices over the next month. And if you're a bear and me saying all of this has made you mad, well, it's about to get worse, okay? Because stocks love Monday, and the next trading day is, of course, Monday. Again, pause your screen and take a good look at this. Lastly, is this ridiculous? Because I don't think this looks ridiculous at all. And neither does Glenn Hoddle here. So very nice chart. Is this something that could repeat? Okay, obviously this is just copy and pasted this fractal here. Is that something that could be tacked on to the end, to the hard right edge of this chart? Is this something we could see? Here's another look with a trend line running right through the middle. Not the craziest thing in the world, right? Not the craziest thing in the world. Of course, this would be a normal right translated cycle as well. So whilst I've been calling for this thing to blow off and do this into the next bear market low before then resumption of a 4-year cycle, it's entirely possible that I'm wrong about that and we do just do normal Bitcoin 4-year halving cycle shape stuff. So something like this is entirely on the cards as well. And when I say things like I think that we're probably going to left translate and then trend down for 3 years, a lot of people seem to think I'm saying this as if I know what's going to happen, or as if I'm saying that this is certainly going to happen. This is one possibility, okay? One possibility, right translation, normal 4-year halving stuff. Another possibility is we go straight up and then trend down for 3 years. It's also possible that we do something like this and roll over, okay? Everything and anything is on the table. All I'm trying to do is try my best to solve one of the most complex puzzles that there is to solve at the moment. Nobody knows, including me, but don't just be a noob. Don't just be a noob and think, well, look what always happened before, so it has to happen just like that again, okay? That's how you get wrecked. And that's exactly what happened to so many people here. They said, they looked left, and they said, oh, well, what must happen? Straight to 300k and then down. And what happened? The cycle changed, right? We got this weird distribution expanded flat top thing coming out. So don't just assume that because we've done it in the past, we're going to do it in the future. Now, does it mean that it's likely we're going to do this again? Yeah, it probably does, right? But again, just be open to everything. That's all I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to say that this happens for certain any more than I'm trying to say that this current green thing happens for certain. All I'm trying to do is be open to absolutely every possible outcome. So here's the dollar, starting off with the dollar as we should. I think this is probably going to roll over, continue to follow my squiggle, and of course the target remains in the mid-90s for the DXY. The euro dollar still pushing out and strong, isn't it? It's the same deal for the GBP USD. As you can see, broken out, retested, still above the lows. So ideally, we'd like to see a bit more follow through to push the dollar down. And the same is true of the euro dollar, right? If this thing can continue to walk up, then that will continue to pressure the dollar down. But overall, the cycle for the dollar, the 3-year cycle low, is not due until about Q1 of next year. So there's plenty of space for this thing to roll over. Chart of truth, the 10-year yield probably going to follow this thing into the CPI print and beyond. So of course we've got CPI on Wednesday, as I've been talking about. We'll keep an eye on that, but overall I think this yellow squiggle is likely going to play. I think if I'm wrong about this, it still only looks something more like this, and then it breaks down. So anyway, give it some time, and I'm sure everything's going to be all right. Bitcoin, still doing Bitcoin things, isn't it? Look, it's holding this breakout above this wedge, so it continues to lock people out, and I continue to kind of expect something more like this, right, into that next cycle low before we resume higher. I will say this, as we get closer and closer to this 60-day cycle low, I'm going to start to expect something in the neighborhood of 25 to 40% correction coming down into that 60-day cycle low. Now, I could easily be wrong about that, and if I pull up this chart right here, you can see that this weekly cycle may well be as small as 16%. But I also would not be surprised if what we see is some absolutely horrific 30 or 40% drawdown. Something like this, okay, all the way back to test. Oh, look, as well, 30% would be a perfect retest at the top of this range breakout horizontally. If I added this in right here, the retest of this would be a perfect 30% drawdown. So I would absolutely not at all be surprised if we do this, boom, and then start to rally out of here. So I'm just warning you now, okay? Again, I don't know what's going to happen, but Bitcoin tends to have these big 30 and 40% shakeouts into its weekly cycle low, and this current daily cycle low that we're approaching here, the 60-day cycle low, also happens to be the weekly cycle low. For those of you that are interested, it's due on the 15th of December, plus or minus 6 days. I know a bunch of you have been asking me about that. So here's XRP, right? Long and strong, continue to push. Same deal for Bitcoin, of course. Crypto-related equities are still making progress, aren't they? Still up and to the right. So what more is there to say about it? Here's MicroStrategy. Again, up and to the right. Happy days. Long and strong, continue to push. Riot's still chopping around, but we got the earnings out of the way. If Bitcoin can keep doing Bitcoin things, I expect this thing to continue as well. And the same is true of Marathon, right? So a bit of chop, but I probably got everything out of the way that we need to now, and we can likely resume to the upside. We're still short and strong oil. Some kind of counter trend bounce back to this resistance line is probably to be expected, but all the while we're below it, then we continue to push the short. Gold, right into that cycle low, isn't it? If I move this yellow squiggle out of the way, you can see that there we are, okay? So we're looking for a cycle low, we're looking for a swing and a reversal, something like this over the coming couple of sessions, and then we could possibly get long here with a stop below here and just see what the market will give. But there's nothing to say that this isn't going to continue to bleed down for some time. So I certainly don't want to be trying to catch a knife. I want to wait for a swing and a confirmation that we have actually tried to turn around here. Silver, not at all interesting to me at the moment. Still kind of looks heavy, but I know a bunch of you want me to cover it. I can't really say anything positive about this, okay? We need to at least break out of here, do something like this, and then get above this red one for me to become super bullish. But get above that red one, and at some point we will, and it will be go time, straight to 30 and then straight to $50. But that may well take into the middle of next year before it can be ready to do so. And again, taking a look at the miners, it kind of, what I was talking about this gold move, I said it's spurious, didn't I? I said this gold move was a bit weird, and it didn't sit right with me, because despite having this massive rally, we saw silver and the miners not really performing, right? And now look, back below the breakout. So this is now classified as a failed breakout for the senior miners. It's also classified as a failed breakout for the junior miners. Again, you know, all of these things need to align simultaneously for me to truly have faith in the gold move. These things are all kind of pointing towards not having a real gold move and therefore a silver and a miners run on our hands just yet. So a little bit more patience, right? There's going to come a time. There's going to come a time, and I don't think it's any more than 8 or 9 months away, where all of this stuff is going to have altcoin performance, right? The precious metals are going to do altcoin stuff. But in a way, it's kind of nice that we've got this opportunity here, because we can play this crypto cycle out. Hopefully we can get a gold ratio of around 100 ounces of gold to 1 Bitcoin, and then we can exit the Bitcoin into the gold, right? And then gold, like I said, can do altcoin things. So I think this setup here is nice. I think the setup here is really positive, but it's clearly, I mean, the chart's the truth, right? Charts don't lie. Does this look like a roaring gold bull market to you? Because it does not look like that to me. And last but not least, we finally have that breakout for the S&P. So I've been talking about this over and over and over again. I've been saying, haven't I, that breakout of this, and we have to respect the breakout. We have to get long. And that's exactly what the S&P has done. So this should not be a surprise to you. However, I usually don't like to take positions on a Friday, but why not, right? We've already got the rest of the exposure. So Occasionally I'll break this rule for myself. It's not a hard and fast rule. Anyway, this thing is broken out, as you can see. Here is my long, here is my stop loss, and we'll see what the market can give. The NASDAQ, I was talking about this, wasn't I? I said, maybe this is going to do one or two things. Maybe it's going to come back down and roll over and backfill these gaps, and then we'll get stopped out and have a second crack at this. Or maybe it just breakout, retest, resumptions its way out of here. And of course, that is apparently what it's doing at this moment in time, isn't it? We clearly have breakout, retest, looking for that resumption higher. So we remain long and strong, and we continue to push. Same deal for the Dow, right? Breakout, retest, resumption. Doesn't have to fill these gaps. Usually they do, but when we've got a breakout, that's why we respect the breakout. So we're now back to full exposure, aren't we? We've got all the positions I want. We'll keep pushing them. And like I said, you know, there's a time to be in the market. And if I pull up this chart back here, all of this was a time to be in the market. Then we had the breakdown, right? And there was a time to be out of the market, which was all of this. And now we're breaking out, and it's time to get back in the market and go fishing into the end of the year, whilst hopefully we set ourselves up for a nice face melting rally into the end of the year and potentially even Q1 of next year. The last thing I wanted to point out is the VIX, right? Take a look at the VIX. Sub 15, almost sub 14. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. This, of course, will give us the space to run the all-time highs into the end of the year if this can continue, and assuming CPI doesn't throw a spanner into the works midweek. Overall, everything looks really good. Those member stocks look fantastic. I'm about to do a members only video. So in the face of everyone saying, yeah, the end of the world is coming and World War III and the war in the Middle East, all of this BS, right? Look at the markets. Look at the charts, because charts do not lie. The chart is the truth. The charts keep going up. So we buy the damn thing. Anyway, I got some fishing to do. I'm itching to get out. The time to go fishing has finally arrived. We're back at full exposure. Long and strong. Continue to push. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time, all the best. Cheers. Bye.